Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to KISCImpact. Still awake with us. So, very nice to meet you all. My name is Eric. I am 33 years old and I'm from São Paulo, Brazil. You might look at me and think, you don't look very Brazilian, and then I can actually explain why. So, around 100 years ago also, when KISC was being founded here, a lot of Japanese immigrants came from Japan to Brazil to work for a better life. And between them, there were my grandparents. They came to Brazil around 100 years ago. They ended up staying in Brazil, and the war came, and then many challenges came, and then we ended up creating our home in Brazil. We are now, Japanese Brazilians in Brazil are around 2 million around, and the descendants. And after the World War, there was a need to gather the young people, the Japanese people. They were very with low self-esteem, and they were struggling to just come together. So many scout groups formed at that time in the Japanese communities. And this is how I also ended up in the scout group back home. I joined Scouts as a cub in 1996, and I've been Scout ever since. So you'll probably meet, I hope you meet some more Scouts from Brazil that look like me also, Japanese Brazilians, as we are all around the world as well. So, a little bit about my journey at KISC and also through my life. I remember actually the first time I heard about Lichtenstein. I was a Cub Scout back in my group, and my Aquila, the Cub Scout leader, she just returned from Europe, and she said, you know, for the us Cubs, you know, there's a place in Switzerland where scouting is happening all the time. And as a Cub Scout, I was thinking, well, I understand that scouting is when I go to scout at Saturday, but all the time. And I remember that stuck with me, like, how can it be a place where you can have scouting 24 hours every day of the year? So I didn't thought about much back then, but that seed stayed with me. Moving on a few years later, I was very thankful to be able to join the World Scout Jamboree in 2007. That was the Centenary Jamboree, where we celebrated 100 years of scouting. There, I could actually understand that, oh, scouting is actually not only in Brazil with my group, it's actually this big movement where I can meet other people from other countries that share the same values as I do. And that really was an amazing experience for me. I felt that I was part of something bigger, a bigger family of scouts around the world. And it started to remind me of what my Aquila said back then when I was a Cub Scout. And then we move a little bit forward on time. I continued in my scout group, serving as a leader, and I had the amazing experience to attend the other World Scout Jamboree, so in 2011 in Sweden, and then in 2015 in Japan. Both of them I attended as an adult leader, taking care of a patrol, and I was just amazed to see my scouts with the wall moment at the Jamboree, the same one that I had when I was a participant, when they actually realized, this is great, scouting is amazing, and I am not only scout back home, I am part of this global family. That was really something that stayed with me, but I struggled when I came back every time after the Jamborees, and in my early adult life, I also struggled to find what I wanted to do and what all this experience was leading me to. And sorry. Yes, I think I kept addicted to this feeling of international scouting and running World Scout Jamborees and taking part of this global movement. So in 2009, I tried to go for the World Scout mode, which was a new experience for me. the one that was in Kenya. And unfortunately, I couldn't organize with my contingent to join. And then it came the opportunity to come to Kurdistan, the mini jamboree. I remember that when I heard the idea of mini jamboree, so it's small, but after that experience that I had, I can really say that it's mini only on the name. It's actually jamboree on asteroids. And what we have here, it's like so intense, and the 3 months that I had here as a short-term staff really changed my life. I woke up on this beautiful place and experienced scouting every day. I had also my colleague here, Paul, that will share also the experience later. He was shorting with me, Yannicka as well. Paul was actually my roommate in the shorties, a tiny room, and we shared so many moments together that I really treasure. I know it sounds quite cheesy to say that we keep BP's dream alive, but it's actually very real, and I felt it during my experience here. When I came back home after KISC, I was struggling to finish university and also to find my place in the working market in Brazil. I felt that I was not connected and didn't feel like I was working for a purpose that I believed. Very different from the experience that I had here in Kurdistan. And but while I was struggling to find my profession and my area, I was even more engaged in my scout group, even more engaged in the scout activities, because that's where I felt I belonged and that's where I felt my purpose was. Very fortunately, in 2018, I attended a scout event in Brazil, and I met a very interesting person that said that he worked for WUSM. And for me, that was something new. I knew about KISC, but I didn't know that there were people actually working for scouting as professionals. His name was KISCImpact. He was the former director of Gidds Park, and he was back then the director for world events in the World Scout Bureau. I met him on that event, and he posted in his social media, so very similar to Leonor situation. I saw that opportunity to work for the World Scout Bureau online, and then I said, as Leonor said, why not give it a try? I remembered how it was for me to come to Kurdistan was also a why not? Let's try, let's see. Let's try to get out of this comfort zone and experience something new. And I was very fortunate to be able to be had the experience to work in the World Scout Bureau as an intern for 1 year in the World Events Department. In the World Events Department, we actually supervise and support the World Scout Jamboree, the World Scout Moot, and the World Scout Conference. So it was exactly what I always loved in my life. Just being part of the international events and being part of this experience. Now it was a bit different because now working for the World Scout Bureau, it was also providing that experience for people all around the world. I can really look back now and see how much the Kurdistan experience for me was important. I think the most valuable impact that Kurdistan had in me was to have this feeling as a Pinkie that working hard for something that you believe and working hard to provide the best experience for scouts around the world. This is what I carry with me in my work. After 1 year of internship, I managed to get a staff position in the World Scout Bureau where I currently work. I treasure my work every day, and I really feel that I found my purpose, not only professionally, but also in a personal level. And KISC was a big part of me and this journey. I'm wearing this uniform, which is the World Scout Bureau uniform, but I also also wear purple, which is actually the color of the purple team, the color of scouting that represents the nobility and the purity of our movement. But deep down inside, I still carry my Thank you very much for the opportunity for sharing a little bit of my story. I'm happy to meet you all, and I hope to see you again. Thank you very much.